field that I'm currently in is psychology. In case you didn't hear my name again, it is Ursula Harrison. I would love to be a counselor of battered girls and boys. Honestly, I feel like I would have a close relationship to some, if not most, of those troubled youth. Um, how many of you come from broken homes or have underwent some sort of hardship that has left you either physically, emotionally, or spiritually broken? Okay, seems like a few of us. Well, I myself am a product of divorced parents and plenty of hardships. Pretty much every roadblock that could be thrown into someone's life was thrown to me at a very young age, starting about 9 to 10. I've went through my father being locked up, not really being around, 100% of the time, my parents being divorced, um, just all sorts of different types of physical, emotional, and spiritual hardships. That's why I feel like counseling would be something that closely gives back to kids that are going through the same things that I went through as a child or an adolescence. So psychologists use the term today. Pretty much the purpose of me speaking to everyone here today is pretty much to inform you of what I would like to do in the future, which, like I said, is counseling and psychology. And even presently, honestly, if I can find some place other than the youth organization that my mom and stepfather had when I was 9 to volunteer at with disadvantaged and underprivileged youth, I'd be in there. I do have 2 kids of my own, so I would have to kind of like put that time into perspective, but that would be something I would love to do, in all honesty. Um, my passion for giving back and counseling battered girls and boys, it does complement one of God's values, for the love of others. And I love wholeheartedly. Like once I love something and have a passion for something or someone, that is, what I do is I love, and God does value that. So, counseling honestly correlates to that love and that value that God has of your love for others. There are others out here who have strong love for others and could agree, that God does value our compassion for others. I was honestly doing a little bit of reading just to kind of see like other counselors and people that were out there. And I did stumble upon a doctor by the name of Umar Abdul Johnson. He's an educator, a psychologist, he's a political scientist and a Pan-Africanist. He actually wrote a book. Let me get that title for you. The Psycho-Academic War Against Black Boys. It's pretty much about, the Holocaust and things about black boys, like how he feels that there's a war on black boys, what they go through. And not just black boys. I mean, honestly, a lot of races out here and underprivileged youth that come from, poverty and things like that go through different things. That's why it was interesting to read about Dr. Umar and what he does and how he studies, the kids that have educational disabilities and they have a need for special education and things of that nature. So if you haven't read or know who Dr. Umar Abdul Johnson is, you may want to Google him. It was a very inspirational gentleman there. I do also want to touch on a few other things in reference to counseling. I do have a couple friends, honestly, who have masters in psychology, and they currently either practice teaching or counseling with those certifications there, or the diplomas, degrees, whatever you want to classify it as. I do have a friend who I interviewed for purposes of this speech. She has her master's in psychology, and she counsels youth currently. Her name is Juliet West. She also agrees that the work of a counselor wholeheartedly complements many of God's values. One in particular that she says it complements is the value of impartiality. Being a counselor to someone says that you care and you value. You're not going to judge that person. You're not going to look down on that person because of their situation, because they may be poor. You're just going to love that person, counsel that person, and go over and beyond to assist that person. And to me, a counselor does that, and God values that. He values impartiality. He does. I'm not going to say God looks down on someone who judges someone else, because God doesn't judge himself, but he doesn't take prejudice of someone because of their situation, because they're poor or something. He doesn't value that. He values someone who does not judge someone because of their situation. As a counselor, you can communicate God's gospel of forgiveness. Most of the people you counsel, you're going to be saying that. You have to forgive those people who have done you wrong to move forward in life. You have to forgive. You have to forget, which a lot of people cannot forget. So it's always going to be something more or less of just forgiving, which in all honesty, even now, I myself, I really need to practice a lot of things that I am going to be learning as far as forgiveness goes. And, God values forgiveness, and he values us communicating that gospel of forgiveness. And as a counselor, I feel like I can do that. I can also touch base on that value as well. I also have another friend. She has a master's in psychology as well, but she teaches at an actual school, but to younger youth. And her name is Cassandra West. She always teaches her students, about forgiveness, according to her, that, you'll have to forgive. Like I said, they're younger kids. So sometimes the younger kid may take something from the other kid, and she has to teach that lesson. I myself, I have a 3-year-old and a 20-month-year-old. So I have to, constantly tell them the same thing. Talk to them about sharing, forgiving, telling the other one that they're sorry, and just moving on. But those are all God's values. So God is a God pretty much of love, and I feel like if I embrace my gift as a counselor, I'm going to be walking in his liking. Honestly, there's no greater feeling than that. No money could even buy my happiness with that. Currently I'm not working in my field. I'm, a technical care advisor, but at the same time, I'm doing what I feel like I need to do to complete school, to get my degree in psychology, and then go on and get my master's degree so that I can do something of passion, something that I love to do, and something that correlates with God's value. If you do have any additional questions at the end of this, I do want you to comment them and I will answer them. Just wanted to make sure I let you know that. Does anyone have any questions now? Don't have any questions? Okay. Well, I've definitely enjoyed everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me. Again, my name's Ursula. Bye-bye.